My goodness, let me talk about this for a second. Relationships. Hello, Valentine's. Yeah, it's a few days to Valentine's Day, and I know many of you are going out on 14th, eh? Cindy? Yeah, you're going out on 14th. Yo, what's up, viewers from all over the globe? My name is Tony Chirah, and this is TCTV1 USA and the Tony Chirah Show, kama kawaida. And today I am back with another dose of Me With Me. You know Me With Me? That show that seeks to take a deep dive into my world of thoughts. You know, that silent moment when you're just by yourself and you're thinking, you're reflecting, you're just going over your life and just thinking about the things that happen to you. I've discovered that sometimes it's quite a thing. Today, we are going to explore the concept of something that is inherent in some of us and learned by some of us. It's a deep dive. Remember at the beginning of this year, I promised you guys that I'm going to be discussing some of those sensitive issues to some that are rarely talked about with a view to just helping us to engage and also take a moment to just reflect. And so therefore today, the topic of discussion is a word that you all know. Greed. How would you define greed? I would define greed simply as the cause of all world troubles. In my mind, and I'm 100% convinced, greed is the cause of all world's troubles. If you don't agree, it's okay, but that's just my way of looking at it. So greed can be defined as an excessive desire for wealth, power, or material possessions, where people just go crazy about the things that they want. They can't stop. They can't get satisfied. They can't have enough. How much is enough? Well, Kenya, you all know someone that said enough is enough. Anyway, let's get back. We've all heard the phrase greedy used to describe someone who's taking more than their fair share, right? And I'm here thinking about what is a fair share? First of all, what is fair? Fair is what is due, a due reward for equivalent amount of effort. I think that's a good way to explain that. But what does greed really mean, and how does it impact our lives? When someone takes more than they've worked for, more than they've put in the effort for, then that is a show of greed. Think about a thief. They've not worked. You've toiled every day of the month, going to hustle, putting in the hours, putting in the works, and then someone comes up one evening or one night or one day when you've just left the house and they break in and steal your stuff. Thieves are an example of the highest kind of greed, that this is not even like someone who has put in any effort in earning what they come to steal. So that is greed. And we have many thieves. We have many thieves everywhere. We have thieves at home. We have thieves in government. We have thieves in places of work, in our professional fields. We got thieves everywhere in Kenya, where it's been defined as corruption. These are just thieves. These are just people that are greedy, who take everything that doesn't belong to them. It's probably something that belongs to a community, but someone wants it for themselves and wants it for their own personal use. So it's not anything that is new. When you think about civilization, even in African context, people started developing a sense of community, and therefore a sense of order was introduced. And down the line came systems that would then govern how people operate. And within that, there were definitions in terms of what one could do, what one could have, even part of the first half of 19th century. This was still active in Kenya. People went to farms, worked communally, and then they would share the spoils. But of course, in those establishments, that's where you started to see greed coming out. So in many cultures, greed is a vice. It's a moral failing that leads to chaos and destructions. A monster that consumes everything in its path, honestly. Think about Africa, for example. We have DRC Congo right now going through turmoil. It is simply greed. You know, I don't even think there is any other way of putting it. And you look at all those countries that are said to have interests in there, some of them pretending to go to protect what is happening in DRC, and they're just pursuing the minerals that are in that country to exploit them for their own use. Look at the warring communities. Look at the warring sides. Each of them is trying to grab something that probably they don't deserve to have. So if you go back to colonialization, for example, when the Berlin Conference happened and the European countries came together and they started subdividing Africa and deciding which country takes what. They didn't deserve to have that. They had their own countries. And Africa had its own people who were going about their businesses, tilling the land, gathering and doing whatever it is that they used to do. Of course, that was their lifestyle, untainted. And they had all the land for themselves to do the things that they wanted to do. But then European comes, they want this, they want that, and they look at the entire country and decide, for this kind of space, with this kind of land, with this kind of topography and the minerals that they ran into, we take this. Some of them take some of the lush lands in the highlands and set up big plantations and set up ranches in there. Yet these are places that were previously occupied by people, even if they were not doing anything in that space at that moment. Those were not lands that were just vast with nobody. Anyway, we can talk about going for what is not yours for a long time. So we can all agree that greed is actually a vice that consumes everything in its path, because right now, communities are warring. Anywhere you hear there is war, look around and see there is someone that is looking for something or wants to grab what does not belong to them, because that's what greed does. And when someone does that, then the person that believes that that piece of land or that property or that item belongs to them, of course, has to defend themselves, because that's their effort, right? And then war breaks out. Now, in the wake of that fight, a lot is lost. I always say there's no winner when there's a war. Everybody loses. You might come out as the one who has conquered in that fight, but everyone has lost. You've lost your energy, time, resources. I don't think you get dignified by winning a war. It's just that you subdued the other person. That doesn't give you dignity. And in fact, when we look at it, it doesn't give you pride. If you're the one that was the aggressor, taking what doesn't belong to you, you're a villain. It doesn't make you a hero, right? So how can we overcome greed? First of all, we need to recognize that it exists in ourselves and others, right? And once we do that, we need to be honest about our motivations and our desires. My goodness, let me talk about this for a second. Relationships. Hello, Valentine's. Yeah, it's a few days to Valentine's Day, and I know many of you are going out on 14th, Cindy? Yeah, you're going out on 14th. It is the day when couples get together and go out to, tell each other those sweet nothings and, just celebrate love and show off their dedication to each other and everything. And by the way, I had someone say that if you're 22 and above, if you're a lady, and you're 22 and above, wait for International Women's Day around the corner on March 15th, yeah? If you're 22 and below, you're good to go. All right, anyway, that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is that on this day of love, a lot of greed is going to be shown. All right? What am I talking about? Someone pretended to fall in love with you, but when you look at the motivation and desires, what they are actually doing is a convenience, is a relationship of convenience. Could be someone that, sorry if I burst someone's bubble. Imagine a relationship of convenience where the motivation is that I need to be with that guy because I need to afford to go to college. All right. And because I realize with the job that I have, with the amount of education that I have, I can only earn this much, which is not enough for me to make it to college. I need to get together with that guy who seems to have more resources. And then when we combine our resources, I can be able to afford going to school and be in a good neighborhood. I can live in that suburb. But on my own, with what I was earning, it's probably not possible to do that. I have seen that. Maybe you can tell me in the comment section below here whether you think this is something that is going on. To be honest with you, I've had some very honest conversations with some people, and somebody told me that, no, I'm not in this because I love the guy. I'm just in this because I need to afford my college so that I can get my master's and be able to go to the next level. So this person is there only for that convenience, so that this guy that she is with, dating, even living with, is there to support her and cushion her while she pursues her goals. It could be the other way around. You've all had mumamas and Ben 10s. These are two boys who want to make it in life. They want to drive that car, but because they cannot, they hook up with an old woman, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's about the motives and the desires. So on 14th, you're going to see couples going out, little knowing what the other person's motivations and desires are. And probably they're just there in a marriage of convenience, in a relationship of convenience that will die out as soon as whoever is behind this has achieved what they want. But anyway, happy Valentine's. We need to cultivate empathy and compassion for others. By the time you're coming up with an idea that I want to get together with so-and-so for A, B, C, D, how about some empathy and compassion for the son of soil that's been putting in the hours, that wants to make it? Out here in the US, you guys have heard about the RN syndrome. Some people just get together with others so that they can be able to get that nursing certificate or a degree. And as soon as they become RN, wanapiga simu kinaumana. Honestly, I mean, we've heard about it. That is just greed, guys. That is simply pure greed. There are many, many examples that I can talk about, but I also know you guys have other examples. But I said it's going to be uncomfortable, but someone has to have these conversations. It is out of greed that someone is going to come up with a scheme like that because they don't really love or prioritize this person. All right. So we need to prioritize fairness and justice in our personal and professional lives, and also politics. You get that position not to go and enrich yourself. You get that position so that you can go and serve the people in truth and honesty. The shared resources that are gathered through taxes should go back to people in terms of services, in hospitals, in roads, in education, in agriculture, in production, in manufacturing, in all these things that make the society move around. When you think about fairness and justice across the board and you prioritize that, then you are really, really trying to cultivate an environment that is devoid of greed. In other words, you are helping the world eradicate one of the biggest, or according to me, actually, the biggest cause of the world's troubles. Right. So I don't know if I did some justice to that topic. As I said, this is deep dive where I'll be discussing some of those conversations that are not very, very comfortable with some of us, but it's conversations that we need to have. And this is Me with Me. Thank you for tuning in. We explored the concept of greed, its meaning, and how it manifests in different contexts. I hope somehow someone has learned something. I'd love to hear your thoughts on greed, any way it has impacted your life, and what you think is the key to overcoming it, other than what I have said. Feel free to share your comments and experiences in the comment section below. And don't forget to tune in next time for another episode of Me with Me. This is TCTV1 USA, and